When we came into this place, it was clear that it was going to have to be a gut.
Everything that was existing in this building was demolished and removed.
There was nothing worth saving except the facade.
So when you get a job like this, you get very early drawings, and you have to create budgets with the client and with the architect and designer to come up with what you think the job's going to cost. What's exciting, actually, is finding your way through that process.
We pride ourselves on being collaborative builders, and this was probably one of our most collaborative projects we've ever done. Even though everything's new, there was a lot of research done to make sure that we were in keeping with what would be put into a house like this when it was originally built.
We wanted to maintain that integrity within the neighborhood and keep with the Romanesque revival period.
Before you demolish, you have to shore up the existing party walls. And so there was a sophisticated system of bracing put in. And then there's a sequence in which you demolish portions, put steel in, move your shoring, demolish another area, add the steel. And so it was a step-by-step process involving many trades, putting back the structure of this house.
The living room, it was the room that had to have a formality to it.
We have used a lot of these classical forms and detailing, and it helps us in a lot of ways. Wainscoting around in a series of panels, pilasters in the corners, coffered ceiling, in order to start to bring some scale to the room that's more human. Townhouses tend to be so dark in the center. So it was very important to the client to be able to try and get as much light into the center of the building as possible.
And in this case, because it was new, we were able to play with the stair sculpturally.
And it has a skylight at the top, and that brings light down through several floors. It makes your experience of walking through that center space a lot more joyous.
Getting the right ellipse, dimension, and maintaining that floor-to-floor height affected the overall opening size for the stair. All of that geometry needed to be figured out before we could actually order the skylight, which had a lengthy lead time. So it was critical to the schedule to get that stair in early.
Go down slightly. Okay, I can take it. You gotta twist it to get past this.
The client has a big family and they like to cook in their kitchen and entertain, and this townhouse gave us the opportunity to fulfill that for them.
This client wanted to get more height in order to be able to have a more generous kitchen. So we lowered the floor down, so we were able to give a much grander space than what was here before.
library is a special room. It's one of the more formal rooms and also probably the most period example of Romanesque revival design. And the mechanicals, the air supply and returns are all integrated within the millwork of the French walnut.
Being able to incorporate modern systems into the home in a very integrated and hidden way, those are the kinds of opportunities you get with a full gut renovation.
The powder room is one of the rooms that I'm most proud of. It's the smallest room in the house and one of the most detailed rooms, I would say. To be off of the living room and the parlor, you needed to create the illusion that you were in a larger space. The master bathroom was definitely a collaborative effort, not only for the selection of materials, but also to implement the design. I had thought of this idea to incorporate a precious stone, and to find the perfect stone was many trips to many stone yards. The marble, the tile, and the precious stone, they're all different thicknesses. It was a great effort and a lot of patience from Silver Lining to implement all three thicknesses to make it perfect.
We're very honest with our subcontractors about their strengths and weaknesses. We're trying to figure out the right person to do the right job that we want to achieve for the house. What's wonderful in Silver Lining is that we have so much flexibility with our own staff.
In fact, our plastermen were really instrumental in the success of the dome upstairs. There's nuance when you come to installing it, and they got it right.
The owner was very interested in preservation. A true preservationist wants to retain that which is solid and only repair that which is damaged.
So, but regardless, preserves that they're going to fill this.
And when it came to the restoration of the facade, they were not interested in just doing a whole new cement finish on it.
So we played with 20, 30 different samples to try to make it work.
Even though you don't always get a perfect color match, it's just the right thing to do.
Part of respecting what was is building the stoop back.
The original stoop was removed during a prior renovation.
And it was very important to Brian and I that the integrity of the craftsmanship remained.
The knoll posts at the end of the steps, they were originally going to be carved by machine tools, which is pretty common this day and age. But in spirit of the project and trying to keep it historically accurate, we went out and found a stone carver. There was no comparison to what you could do by machine and what you could do by hand. And that much care went into everything in this project.
There's traditional materials and craftsmanship, as well as modern materials and craftsmanship that have been incorporated into something that, in the end, we like to think looks like it was always here.
When you finish a project of this scale, there's such a joy I get, and I'm sure you do too, that It's what it was always intended to be, and to me, that's a successful project.